Hey y'all, Ross Swinson here. Today we're going to learn the intro to Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix, so let's jump in.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is this octave. It's a B flat octave. And you do it 4 times. That's the 6th fret on the low E string and the 8th fret of the D string. This is a really fun part because it's a tritone away from what the bassist is doing. So it ends up sounding kind of like this, like, let's see. So if you want to get that and you don't have a bass player with you, you could do it down here. So that's the first part. And now we're going to kind of outline this E minor shape, if you're familiar with this E minor chord. So you go like this. We're going to do a quick little slide from 7 to 9 on D, and then 7 on G, and then 8th fret on the B string, and we're going to give it like a tiny bend, and then go down to 7 D, and give that a good bit of vibrato. One thing you'll learn if you learn a bunch of Jimi Hendrix songs is it feels like sometimes he can't let a moment pass without doing vibrato or a hammer-on pull-off, slide, something, or a bend, you know. So everything has a little bit of something on it. And now we're doing sort of the response to that part. So a little 4 to 5 grace note slide on D, then open D string, open low E, grace note slide from 5 to 7. Now, with some of these grace note slides, these are kind of guidelines on where to start. Like you could do 4 to 5 there and 5 to 7 here. But really, since it's a grace note, it doesn't super matter where you start from. So wherever your fingers kind of land is fine. So again, that would sound. So you basically do that twice. One thing you do that I made sure to learn when I learned this song a long time ago. I had this Jimi Hendrix book and the guy was super meticulous. This little 15 fret slide in between those phrases, again, doesn't leave a moment without something in it. So that's after this part. And then he goes back into the repeat. So it ends up sounding like this. Things like that are really what takes you from just learning a Jimi Hendrix song to like learning how he plays. So I think it's worth the time that it takes to practice that. Okay, now we go into our next section, which is sort of another sort of call and response. We have this one. A little grace note slide from 5 to 7 on A, and then 5 and 7 on D. Bend that 7th fret up a whole step, and then stop it there, and play the 5th fret with some vibrato. Now this part I always mess up because it's very similar to the, but it's slightly different. You do that slide from 4 to 5, and instead of doing an open D string, which is where I make a mistake, it's an open A, and an open E, 3rd fret E. Very slight difference. It's not gonna, like, if I do it with the D string, it still sounds fine. You know, but it's really, that's the actual way to play it. So we have, and you do another one of these. And then the second time, it's a slightly different phrase. So we're doing a little open A string, that grace note from 5 to 7, and then 5 and 7 on D. So before we were doing, now we're doing, so see the difference? You got 5, 7, bend 7, 5 for that first one. And this one you have 5, bend 7, and then hammer on from 5 to 7. So we have, and then you're going to go 5 and 0 on the D string, And the last phrase kind of brings us back up to the beginning. So we're sliding from 7 to 9 on D, and then hitting 7 twice on G, and then 9. And then sliding down into that verse part. Okay, so here's the whole thing again. You got your tritone, little octave here, E minor outline, whoops. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit into the verse for you as well. Still kind of part of the intro, and it's got the famous, what a lot of people call the Hendrix chord, which is funny because I think it was actually used in a Beatles song before it was ever the Hendrix chord. But it's become sort of known as the Hendrix chord, and its name is an E7 sharp 9. So it sounds crazy, it's a little jazzy. You have the 7th fret A string with your middle finger, 6th fret D string with your first finger, 7th fret G string with your ring, and then pinky on the 8th fret B. You know, you don't have to know really the theory behind the name, but just know that it kind of mixes major and minor, which is a big part of blues, and that's why it works so well for a lot of Hendrix's stuff. So he uses this chord, and then he's using a G and an A in the E shape. But instead of playing it like this, what he'll do is use his thumb on that bass note, skip the A string, and then he's got his pinky free like that. And you can do these little flutters like that, you know. And the way he kind of strums it's like, you know. It's basically one measure per chord there. So I'm not going to overcomplicate that for this video, but there's a little basic introduction to the verse.
All right, y'all, that was the intro to Purple Haze. Excuse me while I smash that like button, comment, subscribe, and check out our Patreon. See you in the next video.